So be it.
So be it.
So be it, Mr. Parker.
Barak Yahuwah.
So be it.
Be it.
So good.
Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah. To our YouTube family, welcome back. This will be Searching for the Ancient Path, Part 21. So once again, I say Shabbat Shalom to you. Worldwide, wherever your feet are currently touching the soil, in the four corners of the YAHUAH'S. Shabbat Shalom to the elder Ak, Yehuda. Shabbat Shalom to the younger Ak, Ephraim. Shabbat Shalom to the stranger, to the former Ger, former Goyim, former Gentile, former nation, who is no longer a nation, no longer a Gentile, no longer a Goyim, no longer a stranger, but having been engrafted into the Bayif, which is to say the house of Yahshua, through Hanatsah, which is to say the branch, who is Yahushua HaMashiach, whereby now no longer then being a stranger, or Goy, or Goyim, or Gentile, but now receiving the Ruach of adoption, the Ruach, the spirit of adoption, the Ruach HaKadosh, and whereby now being privy to the same everlasting covenant and promise and inheritance that was given to Yahshua and to Yahshua alone. Shabbat Shalom to you wherever your feet are touching the soil in this yom, to the elder Ak Yehuda, to the younger Ak Ephraim, and to the stranger who has enjoined to us. Barak Yahuwah. So picking this back up, this will be part 21. Part 20 was somewhat of a review of when we first began this journey about 2.5 months ago. So part 20 was a review of that, and part 20 emphasized that all of our ancient fathers, all of them who walked this ancient path, their walk resembled Yahusha. Their walk resembled the Ancient of Days. Indeed, the point was made, to walk the ancient path is to walk, present tense, is to walk as Yahuwah. As to walk as Yahuwah, because he is the ancient path. He is the Ancient of Days. So for the past 2.5 months, we have been looking at the examples of our righteous fathers. I believe that this is going to culminate in looking at the example of Yahusha, who is the Ancient of Days, who is the living Torah, whom all of our ancient fathers imitated, whether they saw him, or knew him or not. This is who they imitated. And so once again now, we're going to go back a little bit, and we're going to look. We stopped last week, I believe, at looking at Abraham. But now we're going to continue this journey and looking at some more of our righteous fathers. And prayerfully, as we look at them, you're going to begin to see some similarities. You're going to begin to see, well, wow, this walk looks just like Kanuk. This walk looks just like Adam. This walk looks just like Seth and Habal. This walk looks just like Methuselah and Noach and Sham and Eber and Abraham and Ishak and Yaqub and Yahusuf and Ephraim and Yahusha himself, who is the Ancient of Days. Prayerfully, as we continue, you're going to see these similarities, because indeed there's only one ancient path. There's only one narrow path that leads to everlasting life. And if we are walking it, there should be some characteristics. There should be some fruit, Barak Yahuwah. There should be some fruit, and there should be similar characteristics and similar traits to these ancient fathers that we're looking at. And indeed, there should be similar fruit, similar traits, and similar characteristics to Yahusha himself, if indeed we're on the correct path, if indeed we're on the ancient path. So looking now, we're going to turn to the book of Jubilees, commonly called Jubilees, more accurately called Jubileem, and we're going to begin reading at chapter 24. In chapter 24. beginning in chapter 24, beginning at verse 1, it reads, "And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that Yahuwah Baruch Ishkak his son, and he arose from Cabron and went and dwelt at the well of the vision in the first year of the 3rd week of the Jubilees, 7 years. And in the first year of the 4th week, a famine began in the land, besides the first famine, which had been in the days of Abraham. And Yakub sought lentil pottage, and also came from the field hungry. And he said to Yakub, his brother, Give me of this red pottage. And Yakub said to him, Sell to me your primogeniture, this birthright, and I will give you bread, and also some of this lentil. What birthright is he talking about? The birthright of firstborn. The birthright of firstborn. He was willing to sell his birthright of firstborn. Indeed, the birthright of firstborn, there are promises that accompany that. There are barakut, which is to say blessings that accompany the birthright. There is an inheritance that accompany the birthright. What is the inheritance? All of the possessions of our Father Yahuwah, and also everlasting life. Because if we are his son, as he is eternal, we are eternal. We are eternal. If he is eternal as his son, then that makes us eternal as well. And so we also will inherit eternal life. This is one of the problems that Yahusha ran into. This is one of the problems when he said that he was a son of Elohim. And they wanted to stone him. And he said, well, for which of my good works do you stone me? So we don't stone you for any of your good works. We stone you because you, being a mere man, make yourself out to be Elohim. Make yourself out to be Elohim. Is it not written? Is it not written that he has made us a little lower than Elohim? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Is it not written that we are Elohim? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If we are his sons and he is Elohim, what does that make us? What does that make us? You can ponder on it for a minute. You can ponder on it all you want. You can ponder on it all that you want. But this is what accompanies the birthright. Everlasting life. Everlasting life and all the possessions of the Father. The firstborn gets all the possessions of the Father. And again, in order to be his firstborn son, Yahuwah's firstborn son, we must be born of Ruach and not of flesh and blood. And we must walk like firstborn sons. We must look like firstborn sons. We must talk like firstborn sons. We must act like firstborn sons. In other words, we must look, act, and talk and do what Yahuwah does. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. In order to be called his son, we must do what he does. We must look like him. We must look like him. And so here, it says here, and I pray that we're able to get to Yashar today as well. If not, we'll, Yahuwah willing, get to that next week. But it says here that Yakub had sought lentil pottage, and also came from the field hungry. And he said to Yakub, his brother, Give me of this red pottage. And Yakub said to him, Sell to me your primogeniture, this birthright, and I will give you bread, and also some of this lentil pottage. And also said in his heart, I shall die. Oh, or of what profit to me is this birthright? Is this birthright? Now, if you're paying attention here, this is the example of someone who is walking the broad path, who cares nothing for this birthright, who cares nothing for this birthright at all. You see, somebody who's walking this ancient path, who's truly invested in walking this ancient path, will do what? Will walk this path even unto death, as the example of Yahusha and our righteous fathers showed us. But he said here, what's this birthright to me? If I don't get some food, I'm going to die. If this birthright isn't worth you dying for, you're not on the right path. You're not on the right path. You're on the broad path that leads to death. And he said to Yaqub, I give it to you. I give it to you over food. I give it to you. He sold his birthright over some red soup, over some lentil soup. He sold his birthright. Verse 6, verse 5. And Yaqub said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him. And Yaqub gave his brother Esau bread and pottage, and he ate till he was satisfied. And Esau despised his birthright. He despised his birthright as firstborn son. For this reason was Esau's name called Adum, on account of the red pottage which Yaqub gave him for his birthright. Verse 7. And Yaqub became the elder. Yaqub then became the firstborn. Yaqub became the firstborn, and as firstborn, there was a birthright. There is a birthright associated with that. Again, what is that birthright? Everlasting life. Because if we are the firstborn son of Yahuwah, he being eternal, that means that we too will be eternal beings, and we will gain everlasting life as part of our birthright. Not only that, as the birthright of firstborn, being the beginning of our father's strength, we get a double portion of his possessions. We get all of his possessions. All of his possessions. All of the possessions of the father, he is going to give to his firstborn son. And so Esau gave all of this up. But Yaqub, being discerning, understood, just as his father Abraham did, just as Ishak did, just as Eber did, just as Sham did, just as Nuach, just as Kanuk, just as Adam understood. They understood that associated with the birthright is everlasting life. They understood this. All of our ancient fathers understood this. And they understood that there was only one path that leads to everlasting life. That there was only one path that leads to everlasting life, and that is the ancient path. That is the way everlasting. And the famine, actually, let's go back to verse 6. And Yaqub gave his brother Esau bread and pottage, and he ate till he was satisfied. And Esau despised his birthright. For this reason was Esau's name called Adum, on account of the red pottage which Yaqub gave for his birthright. And Yaqub became the elder, and Esau was brought down from his dignity. Now, it was already ordained, by the way, that Yaqub was going to become the firstborn. It was already ordained that Yaqub was going to be firstborn. Somebody don't believe me. All right. Somebody turn to Romans 8. Begin at verse 28. Somebody don't believe me. Romans chapter 8, begin at verse 28. Come on. Some are created for barakah and some are created for cursing. That's just the way it is. He's Yahuwah and he does as he pleases. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. We should just celebrate and rejoice that he's chosen us. Some are chosen for barakah and some are chosen for cursing. That's the way it is. Somebody read Romans 8, begin at verse 28.
Romans 8:28.
Begin there.
And we know that all things work together for good to them of Yahuwah, who are the called according to his purpose. For whom he did foreknow.
He foreknew. He foreknew. Before the foundation of the earth and stretching forth of Hashemayim. Come on.
Yeah. He also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his son.
Barak Yahuwah, stop right there. To be conformed to the image of his son. Yahusha? He is Yahusha.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
He is Yahusha. To be conformed to the image of his firstborn son. Of his firstborn son. You could say Adam. You could say Adam, but Adam failed. But he is talking about conform to the image of what his firstborn son should look like. Should talk like. Should act like. Should walk like. We have been created for good works. For good works. And so this same image in which Yaqub was conformed into the image of before the foundation of the earth and before the stretching forth of Ha-Shamayim. This is the very same self-image that Yaqub was predestined for, was pre-chosen for, and this is the very same image. Listen, this is the very same image in which he walked in. In which he walked in. Yes, it is. He walked in this image. Yaqub walked as a firstborn. He walked as a firstborn son. He was no different than Abraham. He was no different than Ishkak. He was no different than Nuach, than Shem, and Eber, Methuselah, and Kunat, Kanuk, and all the righteous father. He was no different. He walked no differently and looked no differently than them. He looked no differently than Yahusha. He looked no differently than him. And if we don't look like them, if our walk doesn't look like them, if our walk doesn't look like Yahusha's, not only are we not firstborn sons, but we're not on the ancient path. We're not on the ancient path. And Yaqub became the elder, and Esau was brought down from his dignity. And the famine was over the land, and Ishkak departed to go down into Mashraim in the 2nd year of this week, and went to the sovereign of the Philistines to Gerar unto Abimelech. And Yahuwah appeared unto him and said unto him, Go not down into Mashraim, dwell in the land that I shall tell you of, and sojourn in this land, and I will be with you and barak you. For to you and to your seed will I give all this land, and I will establish my oath which I swore unto Abraham your father, and I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto your seed all this land. And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be Baruch. Now here he's talking to Yitzchak, who walked like his father Abraham, who looked like his father Abraham, who talked like his father Abraham, and did as his father Abraham did. And by extension, he did as his father Yahuwah does. This is what it means to be a firstborn. Now here specifically though, he says to your seed Yitzchak. To your seed. Now we understand, and we've talked about this, that Yitzchak was not born of the slave woman. That Yitzchak was born of the free woman. Yitzchak was born of above. He was born from above. So that seed of those who are born not of flesh and blood, who are born of Ruach, to these seeds, and in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be Baruch. In this seed, the seed that is not born of flesh and blood, but is born of Ruach. Because your father obeyed my voice, and kept my charge, and my commandments, and my Torah, and my ordinance, and my covenant, and now obey my voice, and dwell in this land. And what did he do? Like any good son would do, he obeyed. And he dwelt in Gerar 3 weeks of years. So like his father Abraham, and like his father before him, he obeyed the voice of Yahuwah. He obeyed the voice of Yahuwah, like any good son would do. Like any good son would do. And he did not turn to the right or to the left of the instructions that his father gave him, like any good son would do. And Abimelech charged concerning him and concerning all that was his, saying, Any man that shall touch him or anything that is his shall surely die. And Ishkak waxed strong among the Philistines, and got many possessions, oxen, and sheep, and camels, and asses, and a great household. Here again is a characteristic of someone truly walking the ancient path. If you are truly walking the ancient path, if you are truly walking as his son, then the favor of Yahuwah should follow you. The favor of Yahuwah should follow. Yes, it should. The favor of Yahuwah should follow. And he sold in the land of the Philistines and brought in 100-fold. And Ishkak became exceedingly great, and the Philistine envied him. Now all the wells which the servants of Abraham had dug during the life of Abraham, the Philistine had stopped them after the death of Abraham, and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Ishkak, Go from us, for you are much mightier than we. And Ishkak departed thence in the 1st year of the 7th week, and sojourned in the valley of Gerar. And they dug again the wells of water which the servants of Abraham his father had dug, and which the Philistine had closed after the death of Abraham his father. And he called their names as Abraham his father had named them. And the servants of Ishak dug a well in the valley, and found living water. And the shepherds of Gerar strove with the shepherds of Ishak, saying, the water is ours. And Ishak called the name of the well Perversity, because they had been perverse with us. And they dug a second well, and they strove for that also, and he called this name Enmity. And he arose from thence, and they dug another well, and for that they strove not. And he called the name of it Room. And Ishak said, now Yahuwah has made room for us, and we have increased in the land. And he went up from thence to the well of Oph, Baal Shabah, in the first year of the first week of the 44th Jubilee. And Yahuwah appeared to him that night, on the new moon of the first month. He appeared to him on Abib, on the first month of the new year, Abib, and said unto him, I am the Elohim of Abraham your father. Fear not, for I am with you, and shall barak you, and shall surely multiply your seed as the sand of the earth, for the sake of Abraham my servant. Do you not understand that if we are seed of Abraham, and seed of Ishak, and seed of Yaakov, for their sake he will barak us? Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Do you not remember when he was going to destroy our ancestors, and Moshe pleaded with him, for the sake of Abraham and Ishak and Yaakov, don't destroy your people. Remember the oath you made with them. And he remembered, and he did not destroy them. If we are truly their seed, walking as they walk, walking not in flesh but in ruach, then for their sake he will remember us. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. He will remember us for the sake of his servants. And he built an altar there, just like his father Abraham did. Just like his father Abraham did. He built an altar there, which means that he was a worshiper. He was a worshiper just like his father Abraham, and just like the rest of our righteous fathers, no different than Yahusha, he was a worshiper. And he built an altar there, which Abraham, his father, had first built. So what does this tell you? What does it tell you? It tells us that he did what? That he looked to the example of his righteous father, Abraham. No different than we are called to do. To look to the example of our righteous fathers. And so as his father had built an altar there, he built one. As he had saw that was a righteous work that his father had did, he sought to do the same thing. And so thus we are on this ancient path, looking at the works of our ancient fathers, so that as they did, we will do. We will do. So that for our father's sake then, he will remember us. He will remember us. For the sake of Abraham and Ishak and Yaakov, he will remember us. And he built an altar there. He worshiped. He worshiped. He sacrificed. He offered. He worshiped, which Abraham, his father, had first built. And he called upon the name of Yahuwah. Here's another characteristic. Yes, there are many names going around, but he has one name. His name is Yahuwah. 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 And we're to call him by no other name. His name is Yahuwah. And those who are walking the ancient path recognize. In fact, he may have spoken to some of you that is his name. His name is Yahuwah. Those who walk in the ancient path, as our ancient fathers called on the name of Yad, He, Uhe, Yahuwah, Yad, He, Uhe. Yet as our ancient fathers called upon the name of Yahuwah, so do we. So do we, Barak Yahuwah. And they dug a well, and they found living water. Let me go back. And he built an altar there, which Abraham, his father, had first built. And he called upon the name of Yahuwah. And he offered sacrifice to Elohim, to the Elohim of Abraham, his father. And he offered sacrifice to the Elohim of Abraham, his father. You see, there are many so-called Elohim on this earth. There are many so-called mighty ones of this earth. But we are to serve who? The Elohim of Abraham, in Ishak and Yaakov. We are to serve, we are to worship their Elohim. Their Elohim should be our Elohim. And if in fact their Elohim is our Elohim, then what? We are to worship him in the way that they worshiped him. We're to follow their path. we're to worship him in the way that they worship him, which mirrors the way that Yahushua walked. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And they dug a well and they found living water. And the servants of Ishkak dug another well and did not find water. And they went and told Ishkak that they had not found water. And Ishkak said, I have sworn this day to the Philistine, and this thing has been announced to us. And he called the name of that place the well of oath, Baal-Shabbat. For there he had sworn to Abimelech, and to Akuzah, his friend, and Piku, the perfect, or his host. And Ishkak knew that day that under constraint he had sworn to them to make shalom with them. And Ishkak on that day cursed the Philistine and said, Cursed be the Philistine unto the day of wrath and indignation from the midst of all nations. May Elohim make them a derision and a curse and an object of wrath and indignation in the hands of the criminals, the other nations, and in the hands of the Kittim. And whosoever escapes the sword of the enemy in the Kittim, may the righteous nation root out in judgment from under heaven. For they shall be the enemies and foes of my children throughout their generations upon the earth. And no remnant shall be left to them, nor one that shall be saved on the day of wrath of judgment. For destruction and rooting out and expulsion from the earth is the whole seed of the Philistine reserved. And there shall no longer be left for these Kaphtorim a name or a seed on the earth. For though he ascend unto Shamayim, thence shall he be brought down. And though he make himself strong on earth, thence shall he be hence shall he be dragged forth. And though he hide himself amongst the nations, even from thence shall he be rooted out. And though he descend unto Shaul, there also shall his condemnation be great, and there also he shall have no shalom. And if he go into captivity by the hands of those that seek his life, shall they slay him on the way, and neither name nor seed shall be left to him on the earth, for into eternal malediction shall he depart. And thus it is written. Listen here. Verse 33. And thus it is written. What's written? The words that Ishkak spoke. Do you not know that if you operate as his son, they don't believe me. Oh, they don't. Did not Yahushua say, behold, talking to Kapha, flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, Kapha. And I say that you are Kapha, and upon this rock I shall build my assembly, and the gates of Sheol shall not prevail against it. And whatever you bind on earth shall what? Be bound in Shamayim. And whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in Shamayim. This is the inheritance of a son of Elohim. He listens to us. He listens. And whatever we bind on earth shall be bound in Shamayim, and whatever we loose on earth shall be loosed in Shamayim. Listen here. Verse 33. And thus it is written, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in Shamayim. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in Shamayim. And thus it is written and engraved concerning him on the tablets of Shamayim and the heavenly tablets, to do unto him on the day of judgment, so that he may be rooted out of the earth. Why? Because his son spoke it. Because his firstborn spoke it. Because his true firstborn spoke it, who has dominion over this earth. Yes, his true firstborn has dominion over this earth. It was restored through the sheddam of Yahushua HaMashiach. The dominion that Hashatan took from Adam, it has been restored through the sheddam of Yahushua HaMashiach, provided that we walk as he walked. Provided that we walk as our ancient fathers walked. Then he too will listen to us in the same way that he listened to Ishkak here. Yes, he will. It's written, whatever we bind on earth shall be bound in Shamayim, and whatever we loose on earth shall be loosed in Shamayim. He does not do this for everybody. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. You've got to be his son. You've got to be his son. And if you are his son, you are walking even as he walks in the ancient path, and turning neither to the right or to the left of it. Barak Yahuwah. Turn to chapter 25. And in the second year of this week, in this Jubilee, Rebekah called Jacob her son, and spoke unto him, saying, My son, do not take you a woman of the daughters of Canaan. And they have embittered my soul. Righteousness, let me go back. And they have embittered my soul with all their unclean deeds, for all their deeds of fornication and lust. And there is no righteousness with them, for their deeds are evil. For their deeds are evil. Indeed, those walking the ancient path, we don't mix with the heathen. No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't mix with them. Not after we've been called back to the ancient path. Now, some married heathen before you came to the ancient path. And you still may be married to a heathen. But if you have come back to the ancient path and you're not joined to a heathen, we don't join ourselves to heathens. We don't join ourselves to uncleanness. No, we don't. No, we don't. And I, my son, love you exceedingly, and my heart and my affection barak you every hour of the day and watch of the night. And now, my son, hearken to my voice. Believe, barak Yahuwah. Indeed, it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14, do not become unevenly yoked with unbelievers. This is the same thing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And now, my son, hearken to my voice, and do the will of your mother. And do not take you a woman of the daughters of this land, but only of the house of my father and of my father's kindred. You shall take it. You shall take you a woman of the house of my father. And all Ayun will barak you, and your children shall be a righteous generation and a Kaju seed. And then spoke Yaqub to Rebekah his mother, and said unto her, Behold, mother, I am 9 weeks of years old, and I neither know nor have touched any woman, nor have I betrothed myself to any, nor even think of taking me a woman of the daughters of Canaan. In other words, he was clean and pure. He was clean and pure. And if we expect to be a remnant within a remnant and touch down on Mount Zion, Barak Yahuwah, we must too walk even as our righteous father Yaqub walked. They don't believe me. Once again, read. Someone turn to Revelation chapter 14. Revelation chapter 14.
Yeah. Start with verse 1.
Verse 1.
And I looked and saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and having with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. I heard a voice out of the Shamayim like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing harps, and they sang a renewed song before the throne, before the 4 living creatures and the elders. And no one was able to learn the song except for the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth. They are those who are not who are not defiled with women, for they are maidens.
Now
they are those following the Lamb wherever he leads them. They were redeemed from amongst all men, being the first fruits of Elohim unto the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no falsehood, for they are blameless before Allah, before the throne of Elohim. And I saw another messenger flying.
That's good. That's good right there. That's good right there. That's good right there. And so now in that context, what's this? 2 Corinthians 11:2. In that context of being virgins, we're not talking about their virgins in the sense of not touching a woman. What we're talking about there is being pure of heart, and being pure in being loyal to one husband, and that is Yahusha, and not lying with any other mighty ones, but being pure, but being clean and pure, having washed ourselves and being clean and pure unto him. We see a precept of this, and you can just write this down. We see a precept to this in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, and I'm going to read verse 1 and 2. I wish that you would bear with me in a little folly, but indeed you are bearing with me. For I am jealous for you with a jealousy according to Elohim. For I gave you in marriage to one husband, to present you as an innocent maiden to Mashiach. As an innocent maiden to Mashiach. So we're not talking carnal. We're not talking carnal. But the point is when we see the 144,000, they are pure. Pure virgins like Yaqub here. Pure and clean. Pure and clean. Not turning from this ancient path. Not associating themselves with any matter of uncleanness. And no falsehood being found in their mouths. Just like our ancient fathers. Being first fruits. Being first fruits of Elohim and of the Lamb. And of the Lamb. Turning back now to this ancient path. With all of our heart, mind, and strength. And turning neither to the right or to the left of it. Aspiring and fighting to be clean and pure. Clean and pure. Just as our righteous fathers were. Just as Yahuwah is. Just as Yahuwah is. Thus, being kadush as he is kadush. Being clean and pure as he is clean and pure. Being perfect. Even as our Father in Shamayim is perfect. Even as our Father in Shamayim is perfect. This is the example of our ancient fathers walking the ancient path. This is the example of Yahusha. We can't play with this. We cannot play with this. This cannot be a game. This has to be life and death. This walk must be life and death. We must fight tooth and nail to remain clean and pure. Clean and pure. Separated unto him. Touching not the unclean thing. Turning neither to the right or to the left of this ancient path. And obeying his voice, even unto death. Just like our ancient fathers did. Reading verse 4 again. And then spoke Yaqub to Rebekah his mother, and said unto her, Behold, mother, I am 9 weeks of years old, and I neither know, nor have I touched any woman, nor have I betrothed myself to any, nor even think of taking me a woman of the daughters of Canaan, clean and pure, clean and pure. And so listen, if indeed we have been truly reborn of Ruach, the operative word is reborn, truly reborn of Ruach as what? As newborn babes. As newborn babes. Guess what? He now sees us as clean and pure maidens, provided that we continue to walk this way. Provided that we continue to walk this ancient path and obey every word that proceeds from the mouth of our Father, just like our ancient fathers did. Verse 5. For I remember, mother, the words of Abraham. He says here, for I remember the words of Abraham. Indeed, children, obey thy parents. Obey thy parents. This is what this is. And what this ultimately points towards is Yahuwah. Is Yahuwah. It's what? It's recalling his words. Remembering the words of our Father. Remembering the words of our Father, just like Yaqub is recounting here. For I remember, mother. I remember the words of Abraham. Do you? Do you remember the words of Abraham? Do you remember the words of your father? Do you call them to mind? Do you meditate on them day and night? Do you meditate on his Torah? Do you hide his word deep within your heart so that you will not commit crime against him? Do you recount the words of your father? Do you remember? So that you will stay pure and clean like our ancient fathers and not turn from this ancient path to the right or to the left. For I remember, mother, the words of Abraham, our father. For he commanded me not to take a woman of the daughters of Canaan, but to take me a woman from the seed of my father's house and from my kindred. And he obeyed his father. He remembered his words and he obeyed him. And this is why Abraham gravitated to him and not Esau. Because in Yaqub, Abraham saw himself. In Yaqub, Abraham saw himself. In Yaqub, Abraham saw Yahuwah. Abraham saw Yahuwah. And he loved Yaqub as his own soul. And he knew that through Yaqub, the seed of Yahuwah, the firstborn inheritance would be passed down unto and the renewing of the covenant will be made with Yaqub and not with Esau. For I remember, mother, the words. Let me go to verse 6. I have heard before that daughters have been born to Laban, your brother, and I have set my heart on them to take a woman from amongst them. From amongst them. For this reason, I have guarded myself in my ruach against committing crime or being corrupted in all my ways through all the days of my life. Are you listening? If you can't say this, you ain't related to him. We're not related to him. And we're not on this ancient path. If you can't say this, listen. For this reason, I have guarded myself in my ruach. What does Sha'al say? See, many don't understand that Sha'al taught the ancient path. Yes, he did. What does he say? He says, walk in the ruach. Walk the ancient path. Walk in the ruach. So what? So that you do not fulfill the desires of your flesh. He taught the ancient path. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. What does it say here? And for this reason, I have guarded myself in my ruach against committing crime, of being corrupted in all my ways throughout all the days of my life. Barak Yahuwah. If you can't say this, if we can't say this, we're on the wrong path. We're on the wrong path. And again, Yahuwah has given us another opportunity. When we have been born of Ruach, he sees us as though we have just been born. We have just been born. Brand new. Behold, if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. All things are passed away. Behold, all things have become new. And so if we are in Ruach, we are under no obligation to obey the sinful desires, the criminal desires of our flesh. And we can walk like our ancient fathers. We can war and battle in the Ruach. And in the words of our righteous father, Yaqub. And for this reason, I have guarded myself in my Ruach. We can guard ourselves against committing crime or being corrupted in all my ways throughout all my days of my life. For with regard to lust and fornication, Abraham, my father, gave me many commands. Many commands. Has not our father, Yahuwah, given us many commands about lust and fornication? Yes, he has. Yes, he has. Abraham gave the same commands because the words that he spoke were not his own. They were from Yahuwah. They were from Yahuwah. The Torah that came from the mouth of Abraham was from Yahuwah, and that he gave to Yaqub, his son. And Yaqub listened to the voice of his father. He listened to them. And just as his father Ishak walked, and just as Abraham walked, he walked. And just as Yahuwah walks, present tense, he walked. He walked. Verse 8. And despite all that he has commanded me, these 22 years, my brother has striven with me. My brother has striven with me. Indeed, as him who was born according to the flesh. Persecuted then him who was born according to the Ruach, so are we persecuted by those who are born according to the flesh. Do you understand the duality? Do you understand the duality? We're going to get to this. The duality is Esau and Jacob. The Esau is Cain and Abel. The duality is the good seed and the evil seed, the tare, the wheat and the tare. The duality is the sheep or the sheep and the goats. This is the duality. Esau was a son of the wicked one. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. When Hashatan fell, evil was created. Evil was created. And so as some are predestined to be sons of Yahuwah, sons are predestined to be sons of Hashatan. Some are predestined for wrath. Oh, you don't believe me. Do you not recall when he hardened the heart of Parah? When he hardened his heart for his esteem. He hardened the heart of Par'ah because his heart was already hardened. Because Par'ah was a representation of Hashatan, whose heart is also hardened. And so all of his children are predestined for wrath. Yes, they are. There are some who are predestined for wrath, and there are some who are predestined to be the sons of Elohim. We just read this in Romans chapter 8. We just read this. Some are predestined to be children of Elohim, and some are predestined for wrath. Esau was predestined for wrath, and all of his seed, all of his children, who operate in a like manner and who walk this broad path that leads to destruction, and who will not teshubah, who will not repent, who just will not repent no matter what, they are his children. They are his children. They are the wicked seed of Esau. Yes, they are. This is the duality. It is the seed of Yahuwah and the seed of the wicked one. There is no in between. There are sheep, there are goats. There is Jacob and there is Esau. This is the duality. This is the duality. And even as we speak, this duality is being played out as two nations are still struggling within a womb. Those born according to the flesh and those born according to the Ruach. Those born according to the flesh are still persecuting those who are born according to the Ruach. Esau is still persecuting Jacob. And this thing is going to play out into the very end, when the sheep are going to be separated from the goats. When Esau and Jacob are going to be separated from the womb. This thing, this duality, is still being played out. Listen to Esau here. Listen. And despite all that he has commanded me, these 22 years, my brother has striven with me and spoken frequently to me and said, my brother, take to be your woman, a sister of my 2 women. But I refuse to do as he has done. You see the voice of the serpent coming through this man, speaking contrary to Torah. And many of you got some in your ears, speaking contrary to Torah, trying to get you to transgress Torah. Oh, that's bondage. You are in bondage. You trying to earn your salvation. You trying to earn your deliverance. When the word declares we are to what? Work out our own deliverance with reverence and trembling. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. With what? With good works. With good works. In accordance with Torah. In accordance with Torah. We are building up a foundation of good works. So that what? So that we'll receive a prize. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's going to be prizes given out. Prizes are going to be given out in accordance with your works. He says, behold, I come speedily, and to reward each in accordance with their works. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He said this. He said this. I believe in Revelation 22 and in other places. Behold, I come speedily, and I'm going to reward each according to their works. And so, just like their father Esau, they're in your ear, trying to cause you to transgress Torah. Oh, you're in bondage. Take one of the women of my wife's sister. It don't matter what your father Abraham said. Not understanding that those instructions came from the mouth of Yahuwah through the vessel of Abraham. Through his vessel Abraham. Just like an Edomite. Just like an Edomite. Just like the serpent seed hissing, trying to get you to transgress Torah. Oh, an Edomite comes in many different shades and colors. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And the seed of Jacob comes in many different shades and colors. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Verse 9. I swear before you, mother, that all the days of my life I will not take me a woman from the daughters of the seed of Canaan, and I will not act wickedly, as my brother has done. Can you say this? If you can't say this, if you are not prepared to fight like this even unto death, to not transgress your father, you ain't related to Jacob. You're not related to Jacob. You're not related to Ishkak. You're not related to Abraham. No. If you would just rather just compromise, because that's just easy. I'll just compromise. If you would rather just compromise, you're not related to our righteous fathers. And you're not on the ancient path. You're not on it. You're not on it. Verse 10. Fear not, mother. be assured that I shall do your will, that I shall do your will and walk in uprightness and not corrupt my ways. How long? Forever. I shall not corrupt my ways. Forever. This is a son. This is what a son looks like. This is what a son looks like. This is what it looks like to walk the ancient path. And what does the instruction say? Honor thy father and thy mother. That's what it says. And what does he say? Fear not, mother, be assured that I shall do your will and will walk in uprightness and not corrupt my ways forever. This is what it looks like. Verse 11. And thereupon she lifted up her face to Shamayim and extended the fingers of her hand and opened her mouth in Baruch al-Ayun, who had created the Shamayim and the earth. And she gave him thanks and praise. And she said, Baruch be Yahuwah Elohim, and may his Kadosh name be Baruch forever and ever, who has given me Yakub, listen, as a pure son. As a pure son. Do you understand? Do you understand? If we're not pure, we're not his children. We can't compromise, Mishpachah. We can't compromise this ancient path. We can't turn from it. We must be pure as he is pure. We must be clean as he is clean. We must be kadosh as he is kadosh. This is the ancient path. This is the ancient path. Listen here. And she said, Baruch be Yahuwah Elohim, and may his kadosh name be Baruch forever and ever, who has given me Yakub as a pure son and a kadosh seed. And a kadosh seed. And if we're not pure children, if we're not pure, does he not say, nothing but the pure in heart shall see him? If we're not pure and kadosh seed, like our righteous fathers, we're not going to see him. And they're not our ancestors. We're not seed of them. If we can't say this, we are seed of the wicked one. We're seed of the wicked one. There's only two. Either you're seed of the wicked one or you're seed of Yahuwah. There's no in between. There's two seeds. We're going to get to it. There's two seeds. Seed of the wicked one and seed of Yahuwah. Period. Period. Seed of Yahuwah are pure, clean, upright, righteous. Walk in the ancient path like our ancient fathers did. Seed of the wicked one, walk like Esau. Because he's seed of the wicked one. He's seed of the wicked one. And she said, Baruch be Yahuwah Elohim, and may his kadosh name be Baruch forever and ever, who has given me Yakub as a pure son and a kadosh seed, for he is yours, and yours shall his seed be. Listen, for he is yours, and yours shall his seed be, continually and throughout all the generations, forevermore. Forevermore. His seed, pure seed, upright seed, righteous seed, walk in the ancient path like he did, shall his seed be continually and throughout all the generations, forevermore. Forevermore. Not so for Esau. Esau is seed of the wicked one. Esau is the tare, and he is going to be bound hand and foot and tossed into the eternal lake of fire. Yes, he is. That is the broad path that leads to destruction. Verse 13. Barak him, O Yahuwah. Listen. Barak him, O Yahuwah, and place in my mouth the barakah of righteousness, that I may barak him. That I may barak him. And at that hour, when a ruach, Zadakah descended into her mouth, she placed both her hands on the head of Yakub and said, hold up, put your finger right there. Put your finger right there and just hold up. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. I just need to pull up a witness. I just need to pull up a witness. I just need to pull up a witness. Yeah, here we go. Just give me 1 minute as I pull up a witness. Barak Yahuwah. Let's see here. Let's give you a witness. Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11, write it down. Isaiah 11, beginning at verse 1. And a rod shall come forth from the stump of Yishai, and a sprout from his roots shall be fruitful. The Ruach, Yahuwah, shall rest upon him. Do you understand that this must be us? If we as children, that this must be us? That the Ruach of Yahuwah must rest upon us? The Ruach of Chokmah and understanding, the Ruach of counsel and might, the Ruach of knowledge and reverence of Yahuwah, and the reverence of Yahuwah, and not unlike our righteous mother here. Let me get out of here. And not unlike our righteous mother here, if Yahuwah Zadakanu, which means Yahuwah is our righteousness. If the spirit of righteousness is in us, if Yahuwah is in us, then the spirit of righteousness is in us. Then Zadakah is in us. If the Ruach of righteousness is in us, then Zadakah, righteousness, is in us. Then that means what? That our words ought to be righteous. That our words ought to be righteous. And no falsehood ought to be found in our mouths. That our words ought to be righteous, as it reads here. And at that hour when the Ruach Zadakah descended into her mouth, she placed both her hands on the head of Yaqub and said, Baruch are you, Yahuwah, of righteousness, Yahuwah Zadakanu, Yahuwah Zadakanu, and Elohim of the ages, and may he barak you beyond all the generations of men. May he give you my son. May he give you my son. She's talking to Yaqub, who is firstborn. And by extension, if we are walking like him, we too are firstborn. And if we are descendants of Yaqub, just like Yaqub overcame at Peniel when his hip was dislocated, and he overcame, his name Yasha'al, meaning overcome with Elohim, or prince of Elohim. He has fought with Elohim and has overcome him and has overcome. If we are his descendants, then we too are overcomers. We too are overcomers. As it is written, to he who overcomes shall inherit all of this, like our righteous father Yaqub. If we are his sons and daughters, we are overcomers as well. But listen here. Listen. May he give you, my son, the path of righteousness. The path of righteousness. May he give you, my son, Yasha'al, the path of righteousness, and reveal righteousness to your seed. What is the path of righteousness? She's talking now about the ancient path. What is the path of righteousness? Torah. Torah is the path of righteousness, in accordance with Deuteronomy 6:20, the 6th chapter, verse 25. Torah is the path of righteousness. And Torah, the path of righteousness, has only been revealed and given to Yasha'al. She says here, listen, may he give you, my son, the path of righteousness. This is Yaqub, whose name was changed to Yasha'al. And reveal righteousness to your seed. You see, this is why he is preparing us now in order to do what? In order to go to the nations to teach them the path of righteousness. To teach them the ancient path. This is what we ought to be being prepared to do. This is what we ought to be being prepared to do. Let's read here real quickly. Just write this down. In Psalms, the Tahalim 147. And I'm going to read verses 12 through 15. And then verses 17 through 20. Tahalim of Psalms 147, verses 12 through 15. And then verses 17 through 20. Listen. Extol Yahuwah, O Yerushalayim. Praise your Elohim, O Zion. For he has strengthened the bars of your gates. He has Baruch your children in your midst, who makes shalom in your borders. He satisfies you with the finest wheat, who sends out his command to the earth. His word runs very speedily, throwing out his hail like pieces. Who does stand before his cold? He sends out his word, and it melts them. He causes his wind to blow. The waters flow. Listen, declaring his word to Yaqub. Declaring his word to Yaqub. This is what she just said. May he give you, my son, the path of righteousness. Declaring my word to Yaqub, the Torah, his laws, and his right rulings to Yahshua. He has not done so with any nation, and they have not known his right rulings. Praise Yah. Praise Yah. So he's only giving his Torah to Yahshua as his mother now is proclaiming over his head to here, may he give you, my son, the path of righteousness and reveal righteousness to your seed. To your seed. He only reveals the path of righteousness to his seed. To his seed. And we are in turn to take this Torah, to take this path of righteousness, to take this ancient path and go and to teach the nations to be lights in the midst of the nations. He isn't giving it to them. He isn't giving it to them. They are ignorant of Torah. They are ignorant of what pleases him because they reject the Torah. They reject the everlasting Torah. And thus they are ignorant of what pleases him. And thus they are walking around naked, literally. In many cases, walking around naked because they have no concept of the clean and the unclean. They have no concept of nakedness and coveredness and understanding that nakedness is uncleanness. They have no concept of it because they reject this righteous Torah. They reject it, and they rejected the way everlasting. Verse 16, and may he make your sons many during your life, and may they arise according to the number of the months of the year, 12. And may their sons become many and great beyond the stars of Shamayim, and their numbers be more than the sand of the sea. And may he give them goodly land, as he said he would give it to Abraham and to his seed after him always. And may they hold it as a possession, how long? Forever. Forever. To their seed. And may I see born unto you, my son, Baruch children during my life. And Baruch and Kadu seed, may all your seed be. And as you have refreshed your mother's Ruach during her life, the womb of her that bore you, Barak you, thus. My affection and my breast, Barak you, and my mouth and my tongue, praise you greatly. Increase and spread over the earth, and may your seed be perfect in the gladness of Shamayim, Barak Yahuwah, and earth forever, forever. And may your seed celebrate on the great day of Shalom. May it have Shalom. Now, again, in order to be his seed, we got to look like him. We got to look like him. He was clean and pure. Yes, he was. He was clean and pure. In order to be his seed, we got to look like him. In order to be his seed, we got to look like his grandfather, Ishkak. In order to be his seed, we got to look like his great-grandfather, Abraham. And his great-great-grandfathers. We got to look like them. All the way back to Yahuwah himself. All the way back to Adam and Yahuwah himself. We got to look like them in order to be his seed. Pure and clean. This ain't no game. This is not something that we can haphazardly approach. It's not. This has got to be our life. We must be pure and clean. We must be pure and clean in all our ways. All our ways. This is the ancient path. Humbling ourselves as humble servants in obedience to the voice of our master, turning neither to the right or to the left of this ancient path, aspiring to be pure and clean in all our ways. Barak Yahuwah. Verse 19. And as you have, verse 20, increase and spread over the earth, and may your seed be perfect in the gladness of Shamayim, and earth forever. And may your seed celebrate, and on the great day of Shalom, may it have Shalom. Verse 21. And may your name, Yahshua, his name was changed to Yahshua, and your seed endure to all ages. All ages, again, to be his seed. We must look like him. We must talk like him. We must walk like him. We must act like him, which in turn means that we must look like Yahuwah, talk like Yahuwah, walk like Yahuwah, act like Yahuwah, and imitating the example that Yahusha has given us. And may your name and your seed endure to all ages, and may all Ayum be their Elohim, and may the Elohim of righteousness tabernacle with them. Tabernacle with them. Now, we just celebrated the Feast of Tabernacles, and we understand that Yahuwah only what? He only dwells in the midst of his people. He only tabernacles in the midst of his people. He don't dwell in the midst of the heathen. They have other mighty ones that dwell in the midst of them. He don't dwell there. He only dwells in the midst of his people. He only dwells in the midst of his sons and his daughters that walk like him, talk like him, act like him, and look like him. He only dwells in the midst of his people. And may your name and your seed endure to all ages. And may all Ayum be their Elohim. And may the Elohim of righteousness tabernacle with them. And by them may his set apart place be built unto all the ages. And by them may his, it says here, sanctuary be built unto all the ages. Unto all the ages. And so looking here now, by them, by who? His set apart seed, his Kadu seed. Now listen here. I'm going to read verse 21 again. Verse 21 again. And may your name and your seed endure to all ages. And may all Ayum be their Elohim. And may the Elohim of righteousness tabernacle with them. And by them may his sanctuary be built unto all the ages. Unto all the ages. Now, as that was verse 21, let's look to Revelation 21. Revelation 21, verse 1 through 14. Revelation 21, verse 1 through 14. And I saw a renewed Shamayim and a renewed earth, for the former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea is no more. And I, Yahuwah, saw the Kadu city renewed, Jerusalem, coming down out of the Shamayim from Elohim, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the Shamayim saying, see, the booth, the tabernacle, the sukkah of Elohim is with men, and he shall dwell with them, and they shall be his people. With all men, or is this specific? It's specific, you know that. It's specific. And they shall be his people, and Elohim himself shall be with them, and be their Elohim. And Elohim shall wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, no mourning, no crying. And there shall be no more pain, for the former matters have passed away. And he who was sitting on the throne said, see, I make all matters new. And he said to me, write, for these words are true and trustworthy. And he said to me, it is done. I am the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end. To the one who thirsts I shall give of the fountain of the water of life without payment. The one who overcomes, shall inherit all this, as our father Yaqub overcame. If we are his children, we too are more than overcomers. Yes, we are. If we are his children, if we are Yashralim, as he is Yashral, as he overcame, we will overcome. We will overcome. The one who overcomes shall inherit all this, and I shall be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. Indeed, he only has one son. But as for the cowardly and untrustworthy and abominable and murderers and those who whore and drug sorcerers and idolaters and all the false, their part is in the lake which burns with fire and sulfur. Now, this list ain't all inclusive. This ain't all inclusive. This is to say all who operate in any matter of uncleanness, their part is in the lake of fire burning with sulfur. Because his son is clean and pure and walks as Yaqub walked as Ishak walked as Abraham walked, and walked as all of our righteous fathers walk in this ancient path. So this list is not all inclusive. No, it is not all inclusive. But as for the cowardly and untrustworthy, we know that Abraham was what? Was trustworthy, even unto death. He was trustworthy. All the trials and temptations and tests that he went through, he was proven to be trustworthy. So was Yaqub. So was Ishaq. So was Yahusha. So was all of our righteous fathers. They proved to be trustworthy. And so the untrustworthy, if you're not trustworthy, it says what? Yahusha says what? To the trustworthy servant. He says, well done, my good and trustworthy servant. Well done, my good and trustworthy servant. And trustworthy servant. He does not say, well done, my good and untrustworthy servant. My good, well done, my good and trustworthy servant. And so to be proven trustworthy is to walk the ancient path in the same way in which our righteous fathers walked. And it is to walk the ancient path in the same way in which Yahuwah currently walks it. Being pure as he is pure, being kadosh as he is kadosh, being perfect even as he is perfect. And untrustworthy, and abominable, and murderers, and those who whore, and drug sorcerers, and idolaters, and all the false, their part is the lake which burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death. And one of the 7 messengers who held the 7 bowls filled with the 7 last plagues came to me and spoke with me, saying, come, and I shall show you the bride, the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away into the Ruach to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the Kadosh Jerusalem, descending out of the Shamayim, from Elohim, having the esteem of Elohim. And her light was like the most precious stone, like a jasper stone, clear and crystal, and having a great and high wall, having 12 gates, and at the gates 12 messengers, and names written on them, which are those of the 12 tribes of the children of Jacob. Yasha'al. 3 gates on the east, 3 gates on the north, 3 gates on the south, and 3 gates on the west. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and on them were the names of the 12 emissaries of the Lamb. And so reading verse 21 again, and may your name and your seed endure to all ages, and may all Ayum be their Elohim, and may the Elohim of righteousness tabernacle with them, and by them may his sanctuary be built unto all the ages, until throughout eternity. And so again, his seed looks like him, talks like him, walks like him, and acts like him, pure and undefiled, being kadosh as Abba is kadosh, being clean as he is clean, being perfect even as he is perfect. Verse 22, Baruch be he that blessed, that barak ut you, and all flesh that curses you falsely, may it be cursed. And she kissed him and said to him, may Yahuwah of the world love you as the heart of your mother and her affection celebrate in you. And she kissed him and said to him, may Yahuwah of the world love you as the heart of your mother and her affection celebrate in you and barak you. And she ceased from barakah him. And so here's another characteristic. If we are his seed, if we are his children, Yahuwah what? Loves us as the pupil of his eye. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He loves us as his very own soul. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. We are near and close to his heart. If we are his seed and walking like him and talking like him and looking like him and walking this very same ancient path and operating in the very same ruach that he operated in, we are the pupil of his eye. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. What time is it? 6 o'clock. I'm going to read one more chapter, and then we're going to shut this down. Well, maybe we'll go a little while longer. Barak Yahuwah. Chapter 26. And in the 7th year of this week, Ishaq called Asa, his elder son, and said unto him, I am old, my son, and behold, my eyes are dim in seeing, and I know not the day of my death. And now take your hunting weapons, your quiver, and your bow, and go out to the field, and hunt and catch me venison, my son, and make me savory meat, such as my soul loves, and bring it to me that I may eat, and that my soul may barak you before I die. But Rebekah heard Ishaq speaking to Asa, and Asa went forth early in the field to hunt and catch and bring home to his father. And Rebekah called Yaqub her son and said unto him, Behold, I heard Ishak your father speak unto Esau your brother, saying, Hunt for me, and make me savory meat, and bring it to me, that I may eat and barak you before Yahuwah, before I die. Now, in other words, what's going on here, Esau is in the same genealogy. If you can understand the Ruach, he is born of the, even though he came from the loins of Rebekah. He came from the loins of Rebekah, but he represents the seed of the serpent. He represents the seed of the bondwoman. He represents the seed of the bondwoman. Esau, if you have read Jubilees at any length, what you will find is that Esau rejected Torah. He didn't want to learn Torah. He'd rather be in the field hunting and occupied with other things. He could care less about Torah. He could care less about it. And so, in other words, the seed of the bondwoman is not going to inherit with the seed of the free woman. Yaqub being the seed of the free woman. Yaqub being the seed of the free woman. And so Rebekah now is here giving him instruction, giving her son Yaqub instruction, as she received from Abraham. As she received from Abraham to watch out for his son Yaqub. Because in Yaqub he understood that Yaqub looking like him, and he recognized and he saw the Yahuwah in Yaqub, and understood that in Yaqub would his seed be passed down, would the everlasting covenant be renewed with, and would the inheritance be passed down through. And Rebekah called Yaqub her son and said unto him, Behold, I heard Ishak your father speak unto Esau your brother, saying, Hunt for me, and make me savory meat, and bring it to me that I may eat and barak you before Yahuwah before I die. And now, my son, obey my voice in that which I command you. Go to your flock and fetch me 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father, that he may eat and barak you before Yahuwah before he die, and that you may be Baruch. And Yaqub said to Rebekah, his mother, Mother, I shall not withhold anything which my father would eat, and which would please him. Only I fear my mother, that he would recognize my voice and wish to touch me. And you know that I am smooth, and also my brother is hairy, and I shall appear before his eyes as an evildoer, and shall do a deed which he had not commanded me. And he will be wroth with me, and I shall bring upon myself a curse, and not a barakah. And Rebekah his mother said unto him, Upon me be your curse, my son, only obey my voice. And Yaqub obeyed the voice of Rebekah his mother, and went and fetched 2 good and fat kids of the goats, and brought them to his mother, and his mother made them savory meat, such as he loved. Again, the commandment to honor thy father and thy mother. The sons of Yaqub, we obey it. We obey it. We honor our father and our mother. This is the command, and we obey it. We understand that Esau did not. He would not honor his father and or his mother. He married of the children of the Canaanite, and which caused his mother to be vexed, and he did not obey their voice. This is the characteristic again of someone walking the broad path that leads to destruction. But if you are truly a son of Yaqub, then you will obey. You'll honor your father and your mother. And Rebekah took the goodly raiment of Esau, her elder son, which was with her in the house, and she clothed Yaqub, her younger son, with them, and she put the skins of the kid upon his hands and on the exposed parts of his neck. And she gave the meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Yaqub. And Yaqub went in to his father and said, I am your son. I have done as you bade me. Arise and sit and eat of that which I have caught, father, that your soul may barak me. And Ishak said to his son, How have you found so quickly, my son? And Yaqub said, Because Yahuwah YAHUAH'S caused me to find. And Ishak said unto him, Come near, that I may feel you, my son, if you are my son Esau or not. And Yaqub went near to Ishak, his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Yaqub's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned them not, because it was a dispensation from Shamayim to remove the power of perception. And Ishkak discerned not, for his hands were hairy as his brothers Esau's, so that he Baruch him. And he said, are you my son Esau? Now here what we see happening is the prayer of Abraham being answered. Abraham spoke a barakah over Yaakov and pronounced him to be his son. And he asked Yahuwah, may you renew your covenant with him. May you renew your covenant with him. And we see here Yahuwah hearkening to the prayer of Abraham that he had prayed over Yaakov. And Ishkak said unto him, come near that I may feel you, my son, if you are my son also or not. And Yaakov went near to Ishkak his father, and he felt him and said, the voice is Yaakov's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned them not, because it was a dispensation from Shamayim to remove his power of perception. And Ishkak discerned not, for his hands were hairy as his brother Esau, so that he Baruch him. And he said, are you my son Esau? And he said, I am your son. And he said, I am your son. He didn't say he was Esau. He said, I am your son. He didn't lie. I am your son. And he said, bring near to me that I may eat of that which you have caught, my son, that my soul may barak you. He did say he was Esau. And he brought near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And Ishkak his father said unto him, come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of the raiment, and he Baruch him and said, behold, the smell of my son is as the smell of a full field which YAHUAH'S Baruch. And may Yahuwah give you of the dew of the Shamayim. Listen, we're not going to have time to get into Yashar today. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But it's something I want to show you, Abba wants to show. And may Yahuwah give you of the dew of the Shamayim and of the dew of the earth, and plenty of grain and oil. Let nations serve you, and peoples bow down to you. Be master over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. And may all the barakah, the barakut, wherewith Yahuwah has Baruch me, and Baruch Abraham my father, be imparted to you and to your seed forever. Cursed is he that curses you, and Baruch be he that barakut you. And it came to pass, as soon as Ishkak had made an end of Barakah his son Yaakov, Yaakov had gone forth from Ishkak his father. He hid himself, and Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also made savory meat, and brought to his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise and eat my venison, that your soul may barak me. And Ishkak his father said unto him, who are you? And he said unto him, I am your firstborn, your son Esau. I have done as you have commanded me. And Ishkak was greatly astonished, and said, Who is he that has hunted and caught and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before you came, and have Baruch him, and he shall be Baruch. Let me read this again. And Ishkak was very greatly astonished, and said, Who is he that has hunted and caught and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before you came, and have Baruch him, and he shall be Baruch, and all his seed forever, and all his seed forever. So Abba honored the words of his son. He honored the word of his son. His son Baruch him, and he was Baruch. And he was Baruch. And this is why, if we are truly his children, we do not throw around loosely barakah. We do not throw around loosely Yahuwah barak you. That's not something you throw around loosely, because he honors the words of his son. It says here, and Ishkak was very greatly astonished, and said, Who is he that has hunted and caught and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before you came, and have Baruch him, and he shall be Baruch, and all his seed forever. And all his seed forever. He listens to the voice of his true son. He listens to the voice of his children. And it came to pass, when Esau heard the words of his father Ishkak, that he cried with an exceeding great and bitter cry, and said unto his father, Baruch me, even me also, father. And he said unto him, Your brother came with guile, and has taken away your barakah. And he said, now I know why his name is named Yaqub. Behold, he has supplanted me all these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my barakah. There's much more I want to show you in Joshua, but I don't think we're going to go there today. The hour's getting late. I don't think we're going to go there today, but there's much more I want to show in Joshua, and Yahuwah willing, we'll cover that next Shabbat. And he said, have you not reserved a barakah for me, father? And Ishkak answered and said unto Asa, behold, I have made him your master. Oh, there's much more I want to show you in Joshua. Much more that Abba wants to show us in Joshua. I wish we had time today, but the hour's already getting late. And all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with plenty of grain and wine and oil, and I have strengthened him. And what now shall I do for you, my son? Listen. And he said, have you not, let me go back to verse 30. And he said unto him, your brother came with guile and has taken away your barakah. And he said, now I know why his name is named Yaqub. Behold, he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now he is taking away my barakah. And this is an eternal and everlasting barakah to Yaqub and his seed forever, provided that we look like him, talk like him, walk like him, and act like him, operate in the very same ruach, and operate in and walk the very same ancient path, being pure and clean in all of our ways, even as our ancient fathers were, even as Yahuwah is. And he said, have you not reserved a barakah for me, father? And Ishkak answered and said unto Asa, behold, I have made him your master, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with plenty of grain and wine and oil have I strengthened him. And what now shall I do for you, my son? And Asa said to Ishkak his father, have you but one barakah, O father? Barak me, even me also, father. And Asa lifted up his voice and wept. And Ishkak answered and said unto him, behold, far from the dew of the earth. The operative word is far. The operative word is far. Far from the dew of Shamayim. Let me go back. And also lifted up his voice and wept. And Ishkak answered and said unto him, behold, far from the dew of the earth shall be your dwelling, and far from the dew of the Shamayim from above. Far from it, but it was given to Yaqub. But he says here, far shall you be from it. And by your sword you shall live. And by your sword you shall live. You will live, and you will serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when you become great, and do shake his yoke from off your neck, you shall commit a crime. You shall commit a complete crime unto death, and your seed shall be rooted out from under Shamayim. He is the seed of the wicked one. He is the seed of the wicked one. Esau is the seed of the wicked one. And all who are his seed, who operate in like manner, are the seed of the wicked one. And one of their characteristics is they live by the sword. And as we find in Matthew chapter 13, he who lives by the sword shall die by the sword, shall die by it. And also kept threatening Yaqub because of the barakah wherewith his father Baruch him. And he said in his heart, may the days of mourning for my father now come, so that I may slay my brother Yaqub. We're going to stop here. There's much more Abba wants to show us in Jasher with regards to the same account. But there's much more to pull out from it in the book of Jasher with respect to walking this ancient path and showing different things and different characteristics from the book of Jasher from that perspective. But we're going to stop here because the hour is already late. And we'll pick this up, Yahuwah willing, next Shabbat. Abba, I thank you for giving your son the strength to continue this journey of the ancient path. It is my sincere desire, Abba, that your children are taking this path seriously, that they are understanding that they must be pure and clean. They must be pure and clean as you are pure and clean. They must be perfect as you are perfect. We must walk this ancient path without compromise, without turning to the right or to the left of it. This ancient path is not easy. It is hard, Abba. And unless we are walking this path and looking like our ancient fathers who are all pure and clean, we cannot claim to be their children. So it is my prayer that they're taking this seriously, Abba, and that they're examining their hearts as I am examining mine, that they're examining their hearts, Abba, and ensuring that their lives, that their walk is mirroring ultimately yours, but that it is also mirroring the walk of our ancient fathers, which ultimately mirrors yours. I pray, Abba, that the words spoken through the mouth of your Son, that none of them have fallen void to the ground, that none of them have fallen by the wayside, and that none of them has fallen on stony ground, and that none have fallen amongst thorns. But that your word has gone forth, that has gone forth from the mouth of your Son, has gone forth and accomplished that which it has been purposed to do. That the seed is falling on fertile soil, such that your Ruach will come back and water that seed, so that it grows up to become a mighty tree, producing the fruit that leads to everlasting life. B'Shem Yahusha, so be it, so be it, so be it.